Hey, Stoners. Welcome to another edition of Sticks and Stones. I'm your host, Brent Elrod, coming to you from the lovely confines here at the patio of the No Shoes Bar and Grill. Uh, Sunday. Yesterday was the Aggies' first game. Let me tilt you around just a little bit. Just got to make sure things are just perfect. There we go. Yesterday was Aggie's first football game, and I saw a lot of last year. So I am hopefully optimistic on the Mike Elko era. I did see some flashes of some good things, but all in all, it was rather disappointing, and I'm glad they only lost by 10. And I just turned it off with a minute and 45 seconds left, and it was still Notre Dame had just scored and gone up 20-13. So somehow in that last 45 minute and 45 seconds, they managed to get the ball back again and kick a field goal. So anyway, we're not here for that. I could go on all day about. Oh, I just realized my microphone wasn't clipped to my chest. I hope you could at least hear some of what I was saying. So the beauty of live, right? But I have a really great pairing lined up for you today, and I think it's going to really help me get out of my funk. I am pairing Garrison Brothers Honeydew with a Diesel Whiskey Row bourbon barrel aged stick. I think it is just going to be a wonderful pairing. So I'm expecting really great things. I think you may know my love of honeydew. But anyway, right after this, we're going to pop the cork, cut the stick, and get to toasting. Now, and I'm also, this will kind of tell you where I am with the honeydew. Yeah, I just showed you a full bottle. This is the bottle it's replacing. So I have two, just in case. I love making sure I keep honeydew on the shelf. So, Garrison Brothers is a Texas distillery. This particular spirit is infused with real Texas wildflower honey. Now, this is not, it's not along the same lines as, say, an Apple Crown or one of the cinnamon whiskeys where whatever that flavor is just dominates it. This is just, it's kind of in the background, right? What they do is before they filter it through their maple chips or maple blocks, whatever you want to call it. They immerse those blocks in honey before they put them in to let them age with the whiskey or age the whiskey with them. And so I think it's not quite the same as some of those other ones. This is really more of a whiskey centric spirit. That was a whole lot of talking just for that little bit of information. It is considered a flavored whiskey, though. It is aged a minimum 2 years. Go ahead and glass a little up while I'm talking. It's casked. I can't get the K in there right. Casked in American oak barrels. It is 40% alcohol by volume, which makes it 80 proof. Now, visually, I mean, you can see it does look like liquid honey in the glass. It has that beautiful kind of golden color, kind of a deep gold with just some hints of red in it. It looks wonderful in the glass. Almost too much to drink, right? No, not that. All right, let's nose it up. All right, I am getting some notes of cinnamon and oak and it's got some really, really great legs on it. It clings to the glass very, very well. Um, hang on, I just realized I got another technical problem. I'm gonna have to do some editing on the audio on this one. But I get really some really nice notes of cinnamon, um, some oak undertones there. You know, a little bit of a woodiness. There's also a small amount of honey on the nose, and then I also get a little bit of like blackberries or elderberries or something like that. Um, yeah, it's got a wonderful nose to it. It's even better palate. I know already. Oh yeah, I haven't had it in a while, uh, but this is really wonderful. Um, I get kind of a creamy caramel kind of flavor on the palate with some oak. There's also some black pepper in there, adding a little bit of spiciness. Maybe something along the lines of a cardamom, and then maybe ripe apricots. And it's also it kind of coats your palate, not heavily, just a little, and it's got a very silky, smooth feel to it as you take the drink. I I love this stuff. It is one of my favorite whiskeys. So you know. Anyway, the finish. Let me get another drink now that I've been talking. Now the finish is it's got a pretty long finish on it. It's a little bit florally. There are some kind of some bread notes, maybe along the lines of maybe a little bit of sourdough. Uh, there's a hint of white pepper and then also some white chocolate. Now, white chocolate is my favorite chocolate, although I wouldn't turn down any chocolate. But I just like the creaminess of the white chocolate. It's just different, and that's kind of got this aspect going to it. So I think this is, as far as the spirit goes, you're going to love this. We'll see how it does with the Diesel Whiskey Row Bourbon Barrel Aged. I'm going to go ahead and disband it, unband it, whatever. The band's breaking up. All right. Now, this particular stick, it is a filler that is a combination of Condega, Jalapa, and Ometepe tobaccos. And I think the Ometepe, it's either the Ometepe or the Jalapa. I just like being able to say those words that sound somewhat like I know Spanish. Um, is an island. I didn't know that until here recently. I've smoked a lot of cigars that you have uh, parts of the filler are made up with tobaccos from that region. I didn't realize it was an island. Then the binder is this is kind of an odd, but I do love it, and that is it's got a Mexican San Andres wrapper. You know how I feel about, or not wrapper, binder. Sorry. You know how I feel about San Andres wrappers. That's what I was about to say, so I was getting ahead of myself. And then the wrapper is a Sorry, my camera went off when somebody was trying to call in, and I just was able to get it to pop back on. So I don't know. I'm I'm still working on this live stream stuff. So it does have just a really massive amount of smoke that comes off of it. Uh, this is really a very consistent stick. Um, I'm getting a lot of the same things that I've had on the nose and on the cold draw. You're getting some really good thick notes of black pepper. There's some spicy cinnamon in there. There's kind of a rich mocha espresso kind of thing going on, like, I don't know, Starbucks. And there's a slight fruitiness. Now, that's something that was a little different. I think there was some ripe apricots maybe on the nose. But now you're picking up a little more fruit in the light. Mm. All right, let's try them together. Man, those are really, really good together. Uh, One complements the other very well. There's between the two, there is a really heavy dose of black pepper in there. Uh, but you also get just with the honey aspect of the spirit, kind of blends with the mocha espresso kind of on the palate. I'm really struggling today. I'm telling you, I'm not on my game. Yeah, it is. And now I'm trying them together. I'm picking up a little bit of what I could describe as like buttered toast. Um, so I think this is. I mean, I really think this is going to be a really, really good stick. I'm approaching a half inch in. That's what she said, and yeah, it's really working well together. I mean, I think this is going to be a really great pairing. That is, it may take a minute, but things are now starting to come together. That's when I do my best thinking. Also, it's got a little bit of a wave to it, but it's more of a typical, nothing out of the ordinary. Uh, Really nice burn line to it. The only thing I see that I am kind of worried about is right there in the center. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I might have to watch that. Don't know about that. But as far as the construction, I had that little bitty tiny piece of cap come off, and it's still holding together really well. I think that was just that spot. So I posted the other day that I had made a trip to one of my uh, package places, and I think I really got some good ones that are, I mean, yeah, I could probably figure out a way to swing a $200 bottle of Weller, or 300 or 1,000, but I try to pick things that are like normal everyday folks get. And so I picked up a bottle of Tullamore aged in Caribbean rum casks. I think there's a lot of ways I could go with that particular one, especially on the more mild end of cigars, something along the lines of Connecticut's. Um, I also got some Crown XO extra old. We'll see.
I do like Crown, and I saw this and I'm like, hey, I'll give it a try. You know, I've 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 done I think I've done regular Crown, and I've done something on Crown Blackberry and probably Crown Apple somewhere along the way, but this was just regular whiskey XO. So we'll see how that goes. Uh, what else did? Oh, Uncle Nearest, 1854, I think. So I'm very excited about that one. I'll see a lot of things about Uncle Nearest. So we're gonna see how it goes. And there was another bottle in there too. I can't remember what it was now, and I'll look at the picture later and be like, ah, crap, I should have remembered that, but it escapes me. Speaking of escapes me, I don't want to get any crap started, but I saw this video the other night. It was a recording of the current left-leaning vice presidential candidate who has had some problems with what he has said in the past. I'm not talking about, oh, he said something bad about somebody. I mean, like, no, he was telling fibs about his own personal life. And this was he was giving a speech to the American Legion. All I saw was the little clip of what he said, and so then I went and found the video to watch all of it. It's like an 18 or 20-minute video, but and it was actually, it was on, like the American Legion site or something. Uh, and during it, he says, and this is kind of the way he was with what I carried, the weapons I carried in war. He says, when I was in Afghanistan, but you weren't in Afghanistan. You were in Italy. Uh, yeah, no. I mean, I did 21 years in the military, and I know, veterans like to tell wild stories and stuff like that, but I say I was in Iraq, and I was there. I got pictures. I say I was in Pakistan supporting Afghanistan. I was there, and I'd much rather, I think, been in Afghanistan. But, I didn't have that choice. But, I mean, this is like the second or third time he has alluded to himself being a combat veteran, and he wasn't even near the combat zone. I heard he was considering leaving the ticket because he was afraid that Harris was going to send him to some battleground states. Here's what I'll say. I'm gonna vote for Donald Trump. I'm not a like I mean I like watching a lot of the stuff he says because he's very entertaining. I mean, no matter what you think about him, left, right, whatever, he is entertaining. And so I love a lot of the stuff that he says. But my mother voted for him the first time. I don't even know that she voted for president the next time because she wasn't at all uh, thrilled with Joe Biden, but she hated Trump personally. And so she either didn't vote for anybody or she held her nose and voted for Biden. But this time she has said, I can't take 4 more years like the last 4 years. So I'm gonna hold my nose and vote for him because I know that he will do a better job. And I tell her, I'm like, well, that's really what you have to do. You have to decide, who do I think is going to do the better job? Because you're not trying to pick a friend. You know, do I see, if I met Donald Trump, would I want to be his friend and go out and have beers with him? I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. But uh, he does do a good job. He knows what he's doing. She's never held a job other than supposedly McDonald's out in the private sector. That's one of the problems we have is too many people making decisions that have never had to actually live out in a regular world like all us other folks. I really liked Robert Kennedy. I don't agree with I'll say to him about him like he said about Trump. I don't agree with everything he says, but I did like him. And I actually kind of did have to evaluate, and what really kept me from supporting him anymore is I knew, I could just tell by the way the polls were going, he was not going to make it. Ross Perot did it, and he managed to pull like 18 or 19% of the vote and cost George H.W. Bush a second term. That was not going to be Robert Kennedy. He was not going to be able to get enough votes to sway anything one way or the other. It's possible he could have gotten high enough in a particular state to flip that state the way backwards of the way it would have gone if he hadn't been in the race. It's possible, but you know, but it's like him and Tulsi Gabbard. I think she was much more eloquent with it, and she's like, I was a lifelong Democrat. I was raised around lifelong Democrats, and the Democratic Party that I see today are not the Kennedy Democrats that raised me, and I can't support a lot of the really super far left issues that they support. And so while she has endorsed Trump, she is still not affiliated with a party that I've heard her announce. So I think she would make an excellent Secretary of Defense. I mean, she's a light colonel, I think. She's been in the military for a while. She's got a couple of actual combat deployments under her belt. And I think you put Robert Kennedy in charge. He needs to be Secretary of the Department of Justice, Attorney General, head legal. I don't know, whatever they call it. Yeah, it would be Attorney General because there's no Secretary in the Department of Justice. That's executive. All right. We are about an inch in. It's still kind of got that, kind of lazy wave to it. And that, to me, is that's what I think a burn line should be, because this is a natural product, I see a lot of people talk about how these burn lines are like razor straight. And I'm like, well, this one is in some parts. But I consider this, see, like that is really, really straight right there. But then when you roll it around, you got that little wave to it. And I'm that kind of person. I got a little lazy wave to me too. I think we all kind of got it. So. And this stick is, it's not burning super fast, but it's also not burning super slow. I have a feeling this is going to probably run in somewhere in the 55-minute range. That's just a guess on my part so far, but I really like the mouthfeel on this stick. That's what she said, and I mean, there's so far, other than whatever's happening right there, there is really nothing I can complain about. This is a really good stick, and I've never been just a big diesel guy. Not because I didn't like them. I don't know. It's just I really kind of gravitated more towards the, Padrones and Macanudos and Rocky Patel and those kind. But this is a really, really good stick. I'm enjoying it. And it says medium to full, but I'm not catching that kind of strength on it. It may ramp up as we get farther into the stick, but it's a solid medium to maybe even a little mild to medium. So, and it's Garrison Brothers, folks. I think if you were a couple of Glencairns in, and somebody poured the Garrison Brothers in your glass, you would think, if anything, it's Irish whiskey, because Irish whiskey tends to be a little bit sweeter, and it's got that little bit of extra sweet to it. So, let me look at my new bottle I've got here. My new bottle is bottle number, this comes from farms. The corn comes from farms in South Texas, because this is a bourbon. It's at least 51% corn. So the corn was grown in South Texas. This bottle was released in 2023, and right now we're in late 2024. This is bottle number 47,373. And the corn is a white corn. And if I'm not mistaken, and I didn't put this in my notes, damn it, I believe the rest of the mash bill is predominantly maybe red wheat, and then there's a little bit of malted barley there at the end, usually about 5%. So something like that, maybe 10. So do you like the way these episodes are going now? I'm not, as you can tell, I'm not nearly as it's got a lean to it. I'm not nearly as focused as I used to be on making sure I get all of this, it was taking a lot of time to try and get everything put together the way I really wanted it, like that. And I don't know, I thought people enjoyed it, but I thought they would enjoy a little more. I'm going to go ahead and tap this off because it's leaning. Yeah, and there's what it looks like when I tap it. Not really sure what's going on the inside of that. I guess there's that's the roll. They're on a roll. And I've been puffing pretty regularly on this one. And I really don't think it is it's full strength. I mean, I don't feel it, while it's got a finish on it with a little bit of black pepper in the retro inhale, it's not like overpowering. You don't have that thick cigar taste in your mouth for a long time. But then when you're washing it down with Garrison Brothers Honeydew, I'm telling you, I mean, as serious as I can be, if somebody just put this in a glass and handed it to you without you knowing what it was, you would probably think it was like along the lines of an Irish whiskey, because it's got that really nice sweetness to it, but the honey is very, very subtle. It's because they don't, like mix it in with the spirit, which generally waters the spirit down. They soak the wood chips in it, the maple chips, and then put those in and let the whiskey age in those. So that's where you get the honey is kind of imparted out of the wood. So, maybe they could get, like bees to fly through the distillery, and as they're flying through, you get a little bit of a honey flavor in the air. Tell you what I am going to have to do. Oh, and for those of you that may have just joined us, I love Garrison Brothers Honeydew. So this is the bottle I'm working off of, and this is the bottle I bought to replace it. So I've had particular. My phone keeps ringing, and fortunately I can text off my iPad where I keep my notes, and I'm going to hate it if I've gotten right into the middle of this and then all of a sudden there's some emergency and I got to cut it short. I will tell you, we are very close to the halfway mark. And while there was a lot going on in this stick early on, yeah, I got a little bit of almost like a little citrusy note when I retroed on that one. We're like I said, we're in about the halfway mark. It has a really wide band on it, so you're just kind of guessing, but it's brought in some nuttiness and maybe a little bit of a darker chocolate. I know I had white chocolate in the beginning. And so the chocolate has gotten a little richer and a little more bitter. There's some coconut going on in there, and again, there's the floral notes that we had in the beginning have really ramped up, and I'm not sure if that's partially because of the spirit or not, but I think I am also getting a little bit of honey in it, in the stick, not in the spirit, but that could be the spirit, everything blended together. So now the honeydew is great. There is nothing wrong with this. It is matching very well with the Sticks creaminess, and while it has a little bit of its own spiciness, it's really helping keep in control the spiciness off of the stick. Mm. Mm. I really love this cigar, but I am going to have to wet my whistle just a little bit. Mm. Okay, now we're ready to go. Now the stick has taken on some some very impressive notes of Dr. Pepper, zero sugar. It's amazing. I never had that in a cigar before. We are getting a little bit more of a deep wave right there. See how it goes. So far, I have really loved the burn line. As I said earlier, it is kind of it's kind of a lazy wavy like me. So this is really a great cigar. I will have a link to the stick and to the spirit in the description of the podcast when it comes out. See, y'all are getting exclusive access. Mm. And the banding is unusual. It's very flat. It's as far as color. I'm not talking about flat. It's very flat as far as color. There's not a lot of shine to it, and the paper is a very heavy, kind of grainy paper, almost like like the really like expensive paper that people will put their resumes on. Yeah, it's a really thick paper. That's different. Mm. I said it's a great day. I think I have. Mm. Now, you will get as